So now we're going to move on to the Microbit Minimove. So it's a robot that is run by the Microbit. And so here you can see a picture of it from Kidtronic. And so on the front here is your Microbit. You can see the 25 LEDs. And then on the back here is the part of the Microbit that runs the motors. The motors are inside attached to this wheel, and another one inside attached to the wheel on this side. And it can move around. And so the first step in coding the Microbit is to look at how do we code these lights. So just to help you get a bit more into coding, but it also adds some excitement to the robot while it's moving around. And so let's do the first thing, which is open up the Microbit website. And so if you remember last time we went to Google and just type in there Microbit, and it'll either come as microbit.org, or you can Google Microbit and it'll be the first website that comes up, and you're going to click on Educational Foundation, and again we click on Let's Code, and we're going to use again JavaScript, and then we're going to click on Let's Code under JavaScript block editor, and a blank page should come up. If it doesn't, you can click up here and click on New Project and you'll get a blank screen. Okay, and so what we're going to look at now is how to code the lights. And so you can see over here on the left hand side is our Microbit, and the Microbit connects, like I showed you, onto the Minimove where the lights are. And so the first thing to do is to load in the package that we're going to use to do this light coding. And so you can see here is all the packages or menus available, but the one we're going to need is called NeoPixel. And so how you get to that is you click on Advanced down here, and then scroll all the way down to Add Package, and then over here type in NeoPixel and click Enter or Search, and this is the package that we want, and it says Downloading Package. And you can see it's going to add it at the bottom of the list here, NeoPixel. Okay, and you'll see now when we're going to start using that, but first we need to create a variable. Now a variable you can think of as being a box, and we're going to put stuff inside the box, and you're going to use it here and there throughout your program, and we're going to put a name on the box so that obviously if you've got 10 boxes you're going to get a bit confused, so you've got to label them. And so let's create a variable, and you can see in the list here that says variable. So click on it, and at the top it says make a variable, and let's give it the name lights, and click OK. And you can see the first variable name here is items, and it's added our lights underneath it over here. And so now we're going to take this third option here, set item, and we're going to change this item to lights, and then you can add a puzzle piece here, and it tells you what to do. And so I'll explain this in more detail now, but just click on it and drag it across here to on start, and you can see as soon as you bring it closer, this yellow portion of the puzzle bit gets highlighted on the on start, and it's this red piece drags nicely into this place. And I'm just going to move this forever over down here. So now we're telling it when we start, create this box or this variable for us, and we're going to set or create a box called lights. So find this box and write on the side lights. And what are we going to put inside the box? So what we're going to put here, it's under the NeoPixel menu. So click on NeoPixel, and that's this first one. So let's click and drag, and then I'll explain what it means. Let's put it over here, and we're dragging it to the end of this red box, and we're fitting it in like a puzzle piece. And so what we are saying here is that create this box, write on it light so that we can find it later, and inside of it we're going to put 5 different LED lights. And so picture it in your mind, you've got 5 light bulbs inside your box. They're all connected by one cable, and they all plug into the wall at the plug 0. And so here at pin or plug 0, we've got 5, so change 24 to 5, 5. We've got 5 LEDs or 5 light bulbs that are RGB, so red, green and blue. So that's what it's saying to us. We've got a box labeled lights, and inside this box we've got 5 LEDs or 5 light bulbs, and they're all connected together and plug into the wall at pin 0. So that's the real life image, but what it means in terms of the microbit is that pin 0 on the left hand side here on your microbit is the output for the 5 lights on the Minimove. And so let's find a picture here. So you can see this screw over here on the left hand side of the microbit is pin 0, and it controls what happens to these 5 lights over here. And so that's what we're just creating this box with the stuff in it because we're going to use it later. You can't just start a program and say, when I start my microbit, make all the lights red. You have to create this variable first that you'll use later to tell what color you want your different lights to be. And you'll see in more detail what I mean now. Okay, and so the next thing now is we're going to determine what color we want our lights to turn. And when do we want them to turn that color? Do we want them to turn that color when we start a microbit? Or maybe, what about when we push button A? You can see your microbit has a button A and a button B. So when I push button A, let's make all the lights go red. And so how do we do that? We go to this menu here called Input, and we click on this first option that says on button A pressed, and click and drag it here. And so on button A pressed, when we press button A, what's going to happen? And so I want to put something underneath here, and let's go to NeoPixel, and we want this fourth one here, item or variable, show color, and we're going to make it red. So our variable, our box of lights, is going to turn red. So click it, drag it here so that it goes underneath button A, and change items to lights, and so our lights are going to show color red. And do we want them to be red all the time? No, I think let's switch them off. So let's go back here, go to the same button here, same code block here, and click and drag it. But now we're going to change A to B. So when we push B, what do we want to happen? Well, the first thing we wanted to do is we want the color to clear so that it's taken out of the memory. So you can see here we clicked again on NeoPixel, and we go all the way down here to where it says item in the red box clear. Click and drag it and put it over here. And let's change item to lights. So the lights are going to clear their colors. And the last thing here that you have to put in is NeoPixel show. Click and drag it and put it underneath clear. And you can see it adds on directly underneath, and again change your variable to lights. So this box of lights will turn off. So the LEDs are going to be cleared, and then they will turn off. And so this is our basic program here. We've created this variable, this box of lights. We said when we push A, they're going to turn red. When we push B, they're going to switch off. So let's call it a name down at the bottom here. Let's call it lights. Let's save it. Remember, you've got to choose where to save it. I'm just going to put it on the desktop. I've got a Microbit folder. You can see it's calling it Microbit lights.hex. Save. And now let's plug in our microbits. So again, take your USB cable, plug it into your computer, and then plug it into your microbit. And your microbit should pop up on the screen here. And again, I'm going to open up a folder next to it, the desktop folder next to it. Let's put it alongside. I'm going to go into my Microbit folder over here. And where are my lights? Here's my lights option. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it into my Microbit. And you'll see it copying. And it'll appear briefly in your Microbit, and then the window will close. Okay, and it closes, and it usually opens up again, and it looks blank, but don't worry, it is inside of there. Okay, and now let's move across to our Microbit and see what it looks like. Okay, so make sure you've got your 3 batteries in your Minimove, and then here's your Microbit attached to your Minimove with these screws, and you should push the A button and get 5 very bright lights, and push the B and it switches off.